with his doubts, discouraged by a project that was too great for him, he wrote in his journal a single sentence: "I am no painter." Yet for nearly half a millennium, this picture has spoken of God's great desire to be with the human beings He has made in His own image. Maybe Michelangelo was not alone in his work after all. Maybe the God who was so near to Adam was near to Michelangelo as well, at work in his mind and his eye and his brushes. The everywhereness of God. This picture reminds us God is closer than we think. He is never farther than a prayer away. All it takes is the barest effort, the lift of a finger. Every moment, this moment right now, as you read these words, is the one timeless moment of divine endowment of life with God. "This is my Father's world," an old song says. "He shines in all that's fair. In the rustling grass I hear Him pass. He speaks to me everywhere." The Scriptures are full of what might be called the everywhereness of God speaking. The heavens are telling the glory of God. Day to day pours forth speech. He talks through burning bushes and braying donkeys. He sends messages through storms and rainbows and earthquakes and dreams. He whispers in a still, small voice. He speaks, in the words of Garrison Keillor, in ordinary things like cooking and small talk, through storytelling, making love, fishing, tending animals and sweet corn and flowers, through sports, music, and books, raising kids, all the places where the gravy soaks in and grace shines through. God's great desire. The story of the Bible isn't primarily about the desire of people to be with God. It's the desire of God to be with people. One day I was sitting on a plane next to a businessman. The screensaver on his computer was the picture of a tow-headed little boy taking what looked like his first shaky step. "Is that your son?" I asked. Big mistake. Yes, that was the man's son, his only child. Let's say his name was Adam. The picture on the computer was taken 3 months earlier, when Adam was 11 months old. The man told me about his son's first step and first word with a sense of wonder, as if Adam had invented locomotion and speech. There was a more recent picture of Adam on the man's Palm Pilot. The man showed it to me. The same picture could be viewed more clearly on the computer. The man showed me that. He had a whole string of pictures of Adam doing things that pretty much all children do, and he displayed them one at a time, with commentary. I and my seatmates got a graduate course in Adamology. "I can't wait to get home to him," the man said. "In the meantime, I could look at these pictures 100 times a day. They never get old to me." They were already getting pretty tiresome to everybody else in our section of the plane. Why was the man so preoccupied with Adam? Was it because the boy's achievements were so impressive? No. Millions of children learn to do the same thing every day. My own children, I wanted to tell him, had done the same things at an earlier age with superior skill. The man was preoccupied with Adam because he looked at him through the eyes of a father. Everything Adam did was cloaked with wonder. It didn't matter that other children do them as well. "You obviously miss your son," I said. "How long ago did you leave home?" "Yesterday." One day away from his son is one too many. So he was rushing through the skies, taking a chariot through the clouds, implacably determined to be at home with his child. He didn't simply want to love his son from a distance. He wanted to be with him. And then it hit me. I am the child on God's screensaver, and so are you. The tiniest details of our lives never grow old to Him. God Himself is filled with wonder at our faltering steps and stammering words, not because we do them better than anyone else, but because He views them through the eyes of a loving Father. God shows our pictures to the angels until even the angels get a little tired of looking, and the story of the Bible is first of all God's story, the story of a father rushing through the clouds to be at home with you. One day apart is one day too many. The primary promise, I will be with you. The central promise in the Bible is not, I will forgive you, though of course that promise is there. It is not the promise of life after death, though we're offered that as well. The most frequent promise in the Bible is, I will be with you. Before Adam and Eve ever sinned or needed forgiveness, they were promised God's presence. He would walk with them in the cool of the day. The promise came to Enoch, who walked with God. It was made to Noah, to Abraham and Sarah, to Jacob and Joseph and Moses and David and Amos and Mary and Paul and too many others to list. It is the reason for courage. Do not be terrified, for the Lord your God will be with you wherever you go. It kept them going in darkness. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. God gave Israel the tabernacle and the ark of the covenant and manna and the temple and a pillar of cloud and another one of fire, like so many post-it notes saying, don't forget, I'm with you. When God himself came to earth, his redemptive name was Emmanuel, God with us. When Jesus left, his promise was to send the Spirit, so that I am with you always, even to the end of the age. And at the end of time, when sin is a distant and defeated memory and forgiveness is as obsolete as buggy whips, it will be sung, God's dwelling place is now among the people, and he will dwell with them. They will be his people, and God himself will be with them and be their God. The unity of the Bible is discovered in the development of life with God as a reality on earth, centered in the person of Jesus, write Dallas Willard and Richard Foster. God is determined that you should, in every respect, be his friend, his companion, his dwelling place. I can feel him walking around. Find a place in your heart, said an ancient sage named Theophan the Recluse, and speak there with the Lord. It is the Lord's reception room. Some people seem to find this room easily. Friends of ours have a daughter who said when she was 5 years old, I know Jesus lives in my heart, because when I put my hand on it, I can feel him walking around in there. Sophia Cavalletti is a researcher who has pioneered the study of spirituality in young children. She finds that children often have an amazing perception that far surpasses what they've already been taught. One 3-year-old girl raised in an atheistic family with no church contact and no Bible in the home asked her father, where did the world come from? He answered her in strictly naturalistic scientific terms, and then he added, there are some people who say that all this comes from a very powerful being, and they call him God. At this, the little girl started dancing around the room with joy. I knew what you told me wasn't true. It's him. It's him. Writer Anne Lamott was raised by her dad to be a devout atheist. She and her siblings all had to agree to a contract to that effect when they were 2 or 3 years old. But Anne started backsliding into faith at an early age. Even when I was a child, I knew that when I said hello, someone heard. Some people just seem to have a kind of inner radar for detecting the presence of God. Just as certain musicians have perfect pitch, these people have an ear for discerning God's voice. They seem to be as aware of God as they are of gravity. Telling them to look for God would be like telling a fish how to look for water. Where else could they live? But I am Adam. I believe my life hinges on the presence of God. I know that courage and guidance and hope all reside with him. But I am aware of the gap, even if it is only a hairbreadth. And in the midst of all my ambiguity, my weakness, and occasional spiritual indifference, I long for the touch that will close the gap. Dallas Willard, who lost his mother as a young child, writes of a little boy whose mom had died. He was especially sad and lonely at night. He would come into his father's room and ask if he could sleep with him. Even then he could not rest until he knew not only that he was with his father, but that his father's face was turned toward him. Father, is your face turned toward me now? Yes, his dad would say, you're not alone, I'm with you. My face is turned toward you. When at last he was assured of this, he could rest. Dallas goes on, how lonely life is. Oh, we can get by in life with a God who does not speak. Many at least think they do so. But it is not much of a life. And it is certainly not the life God intends for us or the abundance of life Jesus came to make available. I want to live with God's face toward me. I want to experience, in the dark of night as well as the light of day, the reality that Moses prayed for. The Lord bless you and keep you. The Lord make his face to shine upon you. God with Jacob. Who is a candidate for such a life? Saints and mystics, of course, the devoted and the wise. But not just them. The candidates also include people who are chronically unsatisfied, restless people and demanding people, whiners and complainers, the impossible to please. Consider what happened to Jacob. He was no spiritual giant. His dad never cared for him much because, according to Myers-Briggs, he had an INFP temperament and liked to hang around indoors. His dad preferred his other son, Esau, who, while not the brightest bulb on the chandelier,